Yeah, guys, happy holidays here. We are here just in the midst of preparing, as we talked about, with preparing for Alabama A&M, who has played very well in the two games they played against Power 5 teams, Vanderbilt and Illinois. Illinois, it was a tie game there in the last 10 minutes. Vanderbilt, they actually had the lead in their last game late in the last 4 minutes. Good size, length, well coached, change defenses, give you different looks, a couple guards that can really go and score the ball. So looking forward to the challenge here. And then obviously after that comes Big Ten play.
All right, we'll start with Griffin Strom and Adam Jardy on deck. Griffin.
Hey, Coach, I'm just wondering, the holiday period here, a little bit of downtime for you. If you've been able to kind of reflect on the season so far and maybe some, I don't know, pleasant surprises or, also areas that you maybe thought you'd be further ahead or hoped you'd be further ahead at this point.
Griffin, I think there's been some really good things, some really good stretches of play. I think as far as areas that I want to, we need to continue to grow in, and that is our defense and our rebounding. I think those are the areas that we need to continue to grow in. We need to continue to stay with an elite level of offensive efficiency that we've had. Our numbers there have been really good, as they've been the last couple of years, but they've been really good with this new group. But our challenge moving forward is continue to grow in our defense and our rebounding.
And then, Coach, I know you said you on the radio show there a second ago that you've talked to EJ a little bit through his recovery process. I'm just wondering for Malachi, obviously his season so far, have you talked to him at all? And, he had that 20-point game, I think, just the other day. Your thoughts on his season so far?
Yeah, his uncle texted me that. I didn't see that. I'm kind of unplugged here throughout the season, so I did not see that he had that kind of bust out game. It was great to see. To me that, and actually somebody with the Spurs texted me this morning that as well, one of their front office guys, and just talked about how pleased they are with him. So yeah, I've talked to both guys. Obviously talked to Malachi because he's, early on he was going back between G League and obviously the NBA, and that's always a challenge when you're a 19-year-old kid. You got to manage that the right way, and he's done a great job with it.
All right, we'll go with Adam Jardy and then Adam King on deck. Adam.
Hey, Chris, you mentioned on the radio show travel issues and things like that, getting everybody back. When do you expect to have everybody fully back? And when you have everybody back, will that include ice?
Yeah, at this point, I'm not sure, Adam, when and if we'll have kind of the full complement of guys. And I just, at this point, it's too, I just don't know. I just don't have an answer. Yeah, I should hopefully know more, in the next couple of days, but I couldn't tell you right now.
And then how did the team come through like finals and everything? How are you guys academically? And like, are there days in the next week or two where by this point you have to have everybody back?
Have to have everybody in terms of what?
In terms of just remaining like academically eligible and able to
gotcha.
team.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody that's going to play second semester will need to be back. Yes. And in classes and starting school. Absolutely. As far as anybody that is at risk or in jeopardy, we had a good academic semester, everybody's fine.
All right, we'll go with Adam King and then Andy Backstrom on deck. Adam.
Hey, Coach, this is your last tune-up game before the Big Ten. Obviously, it doesn't start very easy either. You're at Northwestern and then the #1 team in the country. How ready do you think this team is for conference play?
I think time, I'm learning more and more. I think we'll determine what that looks like, Adam. I think this group's played and obviously played some difficult games in the non-conference. And again, I think this one on Thursday at 3 is going to challenge us in a lot of ways to be able to manage changing defenses, switching defenses, very different look, good athleticism, good length. I think as much as anything, we just need to keep growing and keep getting better. I think at this point, we've done what we needed to do in terms of playing a schedule that's we're seeing a bunch of different looks from different teams. And Big Ten play is a gauntlet. We all understand that. You just got to take it one step at a time. As you mentioned, there are difficult stretches, but that's the case for most everybody in this league.
Obviously, the holidays are a tough time with any basketball team or athletic team trying to keep everybody focused. How do you think the team's done, and especially knowing that you've got to hit the ground running here right after the new year?
I thought our approach before Christmas was really good. I'm anxious to see what our approach is here after Christmas. We had a workout last night, and guys, you could tell we needed that. We needed to kind of get playing and get up and down a little bit. But I'm anxious to see what our approach is now after Christmas. Those games that bookend Christmas are major concerns, and as you I'm sure saw all across the country, there's a lot of challenges with those games. So we need to be ready for Thursday at 3 and continue to get better and have a couple good days of prep.
Real quick, a Thursday at 3:00 game. Is there anything to that being kind of a different schedule for you guys? I mean, obviously a weekday game in the afternoon.
It's a good question. To be honest with you, I had forgotten that it was even 3:00 as of a couple days ago. I obviously knew who we were playing, but my focus was on that, less about the timing. My guess is it's probably a TV situation, Adam.
Thanks, Coach.
And Adam, indeed, it was a TV situation. All right, next up is Andy Backstrom. Andy.
Hey, Chris, just want to check in on Gene. I know you said you were expecting him back shortly, and part of that has to do with conditioning, not even just the concussion stuff. Is there a chance he plays Thursday, and just how is he doing overall?
Yeah, Gene's made good progress, and we expect him to be ready, and he just needs to stay ready. But he's going to be available to play. Yes.
And then one other thing, I know you mentioned earlier in the season, the 9-day break before that game in New York was tough and not ideal timing. How do you navigate this break, which, you always have with the holidays? What's the difference there?
I think as much as anything, it's just getting back into a rhythm after they've had a couple days completely off from basketball. I think that's now the challenge. You don't have that as much during, we were still practicing during that 9-game stretch. So we're not right now. We're not quite at the fitness level we need to be at to be able to play a game. Obviously we have a couple days to get to that point, but that's the biggest challenge when you've had a couple days off.
All right. And then we'll finish up with a couple follow-ups from Adam Jardy. Adam.
Chris, you've talked a lot about your offense and how it's been so efficient and these last several years, and then again this season. In general, why do you think a team with so many question marks has been as efficient as it's been to this point? I mean, I think maybe we expected you would have another decent offense, but I'm not sure how many people thought it would be top 5 heading into the new year.
Yeah, and Adam, I'm interested to see if those numbers continue. I think that has been even a little bit surprising for us as coaches in some ways, because I do think we felt like, given the offensive productivity that we lost, it was natural, right, to assume that. So I think our guys typically, Adam, if you said last 3 years, you've had really last 4 years. We've had a top 20 offense most every year, except for one where we just weren't very good offensively. Our second year, we just weren't. Most every other year, we've had a top 20 offense. They've now trended towards being even, elite in terms of efficiency, which is how everybody evaluates offense. I think guys have really shared it. Guys have played to each other's strengths. Guys have been typically unselfish, but will that continue through the bulk of the season as we consistently see elite defenses is the challenge. But I think there's been a thread of a way that we want to play in terms of 2-point field goal percentage, Adam, the importance we're putting on being efficient from the 2-point line, which is, something I stole when I was in the Big East from some guys who really run effective offense. That metric is really important. I think our ability to play the right way has been really important. And to figure that out early has been important for this group. And now we just have to continue to grow that as our team grows.
Hey, has that at all been an adjustment for you as a coach? Because you've had elite offensive teams and defensive teams. I feel like when you came to Ohio State, one of the things that people said about you was that this is a guy who really preaches and coaches defense at a high level. And I know that obviously that's not, you haven't had the numbers you want defensively, but that's sort of part of your resume, I think. Has that at all changed for you in these last 5-6 years to where you find yourself as a coach leaning more into the offense?
I think that I've realized how important elite offensive efficiency is. I think you have a real ceiling on your team, if you don't have that. But I'm as driven as ever to be able to get a little bit more balance within our team. And our defensive numbers have fluctuated. But I think that's the area, Adam, right now that I'm really, our guys would tell you I'm preaching every day that we just have to continue our focus on that end. That has to be what we embrace. And again, as we get into competition, into Big Ten competition, 10 games from now, and obviously, again, this next opponent that's really difficult in terms of attacking. They went on a 14-0 scoring run against Illinois to tie the game up late in the second half, and a lot of that was dictated on Alabama A&M's defense. As we go through this stretch of this game and then 10, 12 league games, what are our offensive numbers going to be at that point? Is it going to continue to have the kind of efficiency that we've had? I think offensive rebounding has been an area that I've been pleasantly surprised with this group. But I'd also look back and say our defensive rebounding have taken a little bit of a dip in terms of our numbers. So that's a way too long of an answer, but those are some of the thoughts going through my head.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Okay, thanks.